Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. If you've been following the channel for a while, you might have noticed that today's thumbnail looks a little familiar. In fact, didn't I just... And that means that if you hit a Sika, there's no reason why you couldn't cast it as its back half, the prismatic bridge. Oh yeah, that's right, I remember. Well, guess that settles that. Case closed. Wouldn't it be cool if they were all this easy, am I right? Well, of course, as we know by now, they never really are. So, what's the problem? Well, everything was great when that video was shot. However, Wizards came in and changed the rules on me. Literally. Turns out that everybody's favorite 2-mana Planeswalker was winning way too many Magic games. Us fans of the OG Tibalt are definitely a little surprised to hear those words being spoken. However, it's true. Wizards of the Coast saw how problematic this interaction was, and they changed the rules to make it so it would not work anymore. So, anyone remember when I said, see, Cascade doesn't put any restrictions on how you cast the spell? Well, that's the part that changed. To see exactly what happened and why this trick doesn't work anymore, let's take a look at the updated CR entry for Cascade. So, what's changed is, now, Cascade does put restrictions on how you can cast the spell. It used to be that after you exiled the card, there was no problem casting it however you wanted. However now, the game puts an additional rider that says you can only cast a spell that has a converted mana cost lower than the Cascade spells. This was not there originally, and this is what stops you from casting the 7-mana version of the Tibalt spell. There's also a couple of other interesting situations where this rule comes into play. It stops some other situations that came up and were a little bit abusable. For example, the adventure cards, if you have Fae of Wishes, that is a valid hit with Cascade from Bloodbraid Elf, and you would be able to cast the Fae just fine. However, the overexpensive half, Granted, is no longer a valid way to cast that spell. Once you exile Fae of Wishes, you can try to cast Granted, but it won't work because the game will see that you're trying to cast a 4-mana spell off of a 4-mana Cascader, and it'll give you a no-go. So I suppose there's one other thing people might be curious about, which would be split cards. So, if you were to hit a breaking / entering off of Bloodbraid Elf, you would continue cascading. This is not a change from how the rules used to work. That's exactly how they were before. The converted mana cost of breaking and entering is 8, and therefore not a valid hit with Bloodbraid Elf, so you'll continue flipping until you do get something that's lower. They made that change some time ago, back when people were trying to use Brain in a Jar to cast that spell on the cheap. And then, well, we should probably go for one more just for completeness. Let's say we cascade with Bloodbraid Elf into a Wear Tear. So if this is the case, Wear Tear is indeed a legal hit. The converted mana cost of that card is 3. So you should be able to cast Wear or Tear, but not both. If you look at the entry for Fuse in the comprehensive rules, you'll see that it only applies if you're casting the spell from your hand, which you are not in this case. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Are there any other Cascade-related rulings that you'd like to see? Leave them in the comments because I definitely take suggestions. I, for one, am really glad that I don't have to deal with any more turn 1 7-mana Planeswalkers. At least out of this deck, anyway. That's all I've got for you today. Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling. But until then, I hope you have a great day.